What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Like, share, subscribe, comment. IG TikTok bottom video, and we just gonna hop right into it. So today we will be discussing something that has caused a bunch of racial discourse the last couple of days, and that will be the fatal stabbing that happened in Frisco, Texas. So what ended up happening? Some high school teams were having a track meet, as it is that season of spring sports, and Carmelo Anthony, who is the suspect, and the victim, Austin Metcalf. So it says that Carmelo Anthony sat down under a tent. I don't know. I guess the tent didn't belong to him. Austin Metcalf tries to get him to move. This turns first into a verbal altercation. And then after Austin Metcalf puts his hands on Anthony, Anthony proceeds to stab him in the chest one time. And then after Anthony stabs him in the chest, obviously, they had to, get the EMS and all that. He was transferred to the hospital, and then he was actually pronounced dead within minutes of arriving to the hospital. So, RP him, but it definitely is very layered to this, and definitely that's what I want to discuss today. So, first, I do want to say, after when Anthony was obviously, we're talking about it now because he got charged with first degree murder, and after Anthony was, brought into custody. So first they was talking about they have the officers were talking, and obviously, they have to say certain words, just for the legal part. And first he was like the alleged suspect, and then Anthony corrects him and said, no, not the alleged, I did it. And then he also asked about if Metcalf was going to be okay. And he also asked if what he did was considered self-defense. But he is now booked in Frisco, Texas, on $1 million bond for this. So this is, obviously a loaded case because both they are both 17 years old, or RP Metcalf, he was 17 years old, but Anthony is 17 years old. So this is very heated, young people. Anthony obviously being black, Metcalf obviously being white. So this brought a whole bunch of discourse. And like I said, this is what I'm going to get into. So basically, I do want to add this little point too. They said the two did not previously know each other. This was just a random encounter that happened that day. So first, the normal thing to be addressed is the self-defense thing. But the self-defense thing, what is stabbing somebody the necessary the necessary response to getting your hands put on? And I'm very, very torn with this. And this is obviously where really the racial discourse, because they were trying to say, I'm not going to say what exactly some white people were saying, but basically they were just saying that wasn't the needed response to that. But also a lot of people were trying to paint the narrative that Metcalf never put his hands on anybody too. So it's a both ways thing. So I will say this though. I'm on the side of people should not put their hands on each other because something like this may happen, just because you don't know what you don't know what somebody's thinking. You don't know what kind of day somebody having. You don't know what somebody's going through. So you really don't know how they're going to react, especially putting your hands on a complete stranger. You really don't know that, especially a stranger. That's even worse. Knowing somebody and knowing how they may react. I mean, I'm not saying put your hands on them, but it's a little different knowing how somebody may react and then compared to a complete stranger you've never met in your life. Like, my only question is, like, when you put your hands on somebody like that, what was your expected response? Did you think you were going to get in a fight? And I mean, I guess if you just thought you was going to get in a little tussle altercation, I guess. But why would you? When you feel like you're outnumbered, and it seems like Metcalf is with your group, of course you're going to feel with his group. Of course you're going to feel a little nervous because you don't know who might jump in, and if you are getting jumped, then your life is definitely at risk because somebody might kick you in the head, do all kind of things. It's all kind of things that could put your life at risk that people don't really be assessing in these situations, especially when you don't know. People do not act like the unknown. The fear of the unknown is a very strong thing, but people, when they assess things like that, don't assess what people may not know in the situation, just because we have hindsight in our advantage, but they didn't at the moment. He don't know who could have jumped in, and it said that Austin had a twin brother. He don't know the twin brother jumped in, somebody else jumped in. He doesn't know. So that's why I'm very torn on this. Now my thing is, I do agree with the point. Like we do like less weapons. Like if it's just gonna be a fight, just fight. But my thing, but now as I'm speaking more about it, I'm definitely on Anthony's side because you don't know. You hate the fear of the unknown. Like he doesn't know if he keeps trying to tussle with him and get in the fight, what's going to happen after that. Especially if he already feels outnumbered. So I'm definitely on his side of the thing. I'm not gonna lie now that I'm saying it out loud. I agree with him more because you just don't know. Now my thinking is the thing about Texas. Texas is let me verify this, but what the fuck? Let me verify this, but I know for sure. Oh, I could say off the top of my head, I believe. So obviously, y'all know the stand your ground law. So this, if self defense and all this, it would fall under the stand your ground law. So this is how Texas is it. Texas has it allows individuals to use force, including deadly force, to defend themselves or others when reasonably believe it's immediately necessary without a duty to retreat in situations where they are lawfully present. No duty to retreat, reasonable belief for enemy. It says key points of Texas Standard Ground Law. No duty to retreat, so that means they do not have to leave or move. Reasonable belief of imminent threat, lawfully present, defense of others, proportionality, and burden of proof. So where I think the line where the legal or the lawfully present thing. Now he was well, it says the person. So he was lawfully present, especially at the track meet. Where I question the lawfully present is the whole knife thing because I know I don't know if I usually know like school ground stuff like that. They usually like guns and knives and stuff like that are prohibited. So especially guns, but this is a knife. So I don't know, but I usually know they're usually prohibited, so that's why I say the lawfully present thing. But besides that, him being there, I feel like all this goes under the stand your ground law because the imminent threat is like what I just said. He doesn't know who's going to jump in, especially with a twin brother. He doesn't know who's coming, and you're allowed to use You're allowed to use deadly force, and he only hit him once. It's not like he kept stabbing him. So he only hit him once. He didn't like keep stabbing him, which is overkill is a big part of between a first offense and a murder case. So he doesn't overkill. He doesn't have to retreat in the state he's in. He can use deadly force, and the guy already put his hands on him for an imminent threat, and he doesn't know what could come after that because he might feel outnumbered. So I just feel everything about this is very much stand self defense. Me, my personal opinion, I feel like he is, especially under Texas law. Like the southern states, a northern state, it would be a little bit tougher. But the southern states with the stand your ground law and just being allowed to like defend yourself in this case, especially when they have it worded that you can use deadly force. I just feel like I feel like illegally it's self defense. Me personally, but the whole like I said, I already kind of addressed that part of the racial thing. But my thing about so another thing, him being charged with first degree murder, I'll say this. Now, if this does, if they just say, nah, this is not self defense, or, he has to take it all the way up to trial to self defense, and then they just don't decide to drop the charges, I definitely don't think he'll get first degree murder because he didn't really, this is clearly not premeditated. We already said they don't know each other, and the guy put his hands on him first, so this is clearly not premeditated. If anything, I feel like if he does catch a charge for this, it would be a manslaughter charge. But I feel like it's legally, especially in the state of Texas, it's self-defense. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, that's really all I got to say today. That's about it. Obviously, rest in peace, Austin Metcalf. It's sad that this happened, but shit, we really gonna see how this play out. I'll give you any updates if necessary. So like, share, subscribe, comment, IG, TikTok, Bonneville, and we out.